Yo, what's up, guys? It's DC Bakerlicious.
And this is Johnny Grimm.
At a certain point in their life, got tired of their life being shitty, and they decided to change by default. And that decision, and then the following grind is how you change. We Dem Boys.
What's up, guys? Welcome to Dem Boys. I'm DC Bakerlicious.
This is Johnny Grimm.
And we are Dem Boys.
We're Dem Boys.
Coming back at it again.
Yes, we are.
I have been sick for a week, so if y'all have missed me, it's because I've been terribly ill. I was experiencing extreme abdominal distress, chronic issues with that area, headache, but I'm all gravy now.
He had me worried, too.
Dude, everybody was worried. Everybody was like,
I know.
What is going on? Which is really amazing. Like, I was like, wow. My mom even told me, like, someone called her phone. Like, one of my friends actually called on her phone. Like, Dan hit me up. Jimmy hit me up, which is, like, people that I've known for, like, 11 years. You hit me up. It's crazy, you know? Like, it's just amazing. I mean, to be honest, people are amazing. They really do care about you and really actually, it's just crazy because, like, for me, I didn't realize that people were that caring, like I hadn't had people do that. I mean, I turned my phone off for like 3 days, and
which was kind of the red flag for me. Like, at first, I'd hit him up, he'd send back like a line or two, but usually we talk pretty much all day, and then for like 2 days straight, I didn't see him on PlayStation. So now, when I don't see DC Bake on PlayStation, I'm like, alright, what's going on? What's going on right now? Because something's not right.
Yeah, because what I had done is, like, I put myself offline so I could just, like, be alone, and watch, like, YouTube videos and stuff, because my friends would keep, like, sending me, like, messages, and it was just one friend. Like, I don't mind, like, I love a message, like, that's fine, but, like, this one dude that I'm not cool with kept sending me message after message, like, trying to get me to join, and I'm like, dude, stop. Like, he was annoying the crap out of me, so I was like, what's going on? But whatever, it's finally stopped. I told him, I was like, dude, stop contacting me. But, like, I still have my stuff offline, but I'm slowly getting back there, like, that was an amazing thing, though. It's like, everybody was contacting me, and I talked to my one of my friends today about how, I've been doing and stuff, and around this time of year, I really do get to a point where I'm like, I guess if I'm not where I want to be at, maybe, like, mentally, right, and really in life, but I'm getting there, and I just wanted to get to a level where I don't have to rely on, like, doing things to make me content, like, I just want to be content. That's it. I just want to be able to have, like, a life, and I do, but it's like my thing. Worrying gets me. Like, I can definitely worry a lot, so I've been trying to be less anxious, and it's really been helping a lot. I'm in a lot better headspace because of it, not having to deal with all that chronic, worrying about stuff. Dude, I was grinding my teeth when I was working at Starbucks.
Oh,
that
yeah.
was so stressful, man. It was so stressful. Like, I would grind my teeth like that.
Then you start getting, your jaw starts hurting and your neck starts having problems. Yeah.
Dude, it's just, I don't know, man. I don't think humans are meant to live like that. I know we're not. No. We're not meant to live like that. Like, humans will find the easiest way to do anything. That's how we've evolved over hundreds of thousands of years or whatever to actually, do that, because that helps us in survival. So,
right.
I think that companies could actually do a lot to actually, make it so it doesn't have to be like that. You don't have to work. It's not even about work. It's really about doing something that your body and your mind is not designed to do. going against that, and not having a remedy for that.
It's one thing to work to pay your bills and to have a life, but when your entire life revolves around whether or not you're able to do things because you have to go to work, you're essentially working to live, you're working to pay your bills, you're working to do this, that's stressful. There's no real reward in that.
Yeah,
so humans are very much based off of of a reward system. If we're doing something and there seems to be no end in sight, we kind of get this thing of why are we doing this, and it's stressful.
Exactly.
Takes a toll.
Exactly. Like that's why my whole philosophy is, it has to make sense and it has to be easy. Like not even easy, but as far as like the setup has to be easy. If you're able to easily transition into doing something, yeah. Like a concept stuck with me. One guy, I was watching this Vice documentary a couple years ago, and I told you about this, but like what they were doing is they had these lights for babies that had this disease, and what they were doing is they would put multiple babies under a single light, and it was only meant for one baby. So he was like, instead of criticizing the people, right, why don't I make the item make sense? So
right.
The whole concept is don't criticize the people for feeling a certain way. Change the job. Like a lot of people are doing that now. You see a lot of YouTubers doing that. A lot of people that are making their money elsewhere.
Right.
They just don't. There's no. I think you'll see that like the next 20 years, you'll see a massive change in the way the United States and people make money. I really feel like that's coming. Like as far as like how people, transition and do that. Like because right now as it stands, like being stuck on a schedule sucks. That's not fun. Having to do something because people don't mind working. Like people, could be like, oh yeah, I'm just gonna chill or whatever. But if you could make your own hours, like that would make you so happy. Like think about that.
I love working.
If you could go in whenever you want to go, you'd be good.
Right. And I love working, so it's not like, for me, like if my job offered, well, I'm working 60 hours a week, 10 plus hour days, 6 days a week, but it's hard for me to work a 40-hour a week job because I get home and I'm like, okay, so now what?
Yeah, you're like, that's it,
Yeah.
Like
it's
that's not fun.
No, and it's nice because like, if you want to be an entertainer, now is, this past couple of years especially, we're seeing probably the largest amount of people in the entertainment industry ever, ratio-wise.
Oh yeah, it's crazy.
And it's crazy that you can do the things.
Or just coming in is insane. Like a lot of people. One thing I've noticed, one of my favorite things to watch, and I've seen it just blossom, is like the critical thinkers on YouTube. Like it's basically the whole premise of this is like a guy has ideas, right? And it's more like a logical idea, right? So they'll take things that the right says and the left says, as far as on the political spectrum, and they'll just say what is fact-based and what is logical. You know what I mean?
Right.
And that's what I relate to. That's what, like, my mindset is. Like, Sargon of Akkad or, like, The Gathering or some of these channels. Like, they recently had this thing called MythCon, right? And the whole thing is it was just a free speech thing. And the SJWs, the far left, were criticizing them. And it's crazy because like it spawns so many more people, and so what it does is it allows people to debate and actually get their skills to a higher level.
Right.
And you're seeing a lot of people on YouTube actually become really good, debaters and actually really understand what they're talking about. And I love that because most sane people, I feel like a lot of that is not represented in the media now. Like a person like just saying, hey, like I'm not stupid, like I'm a normal person, and it's good to see that that's normal, like these are normal people.
Right. And that's kind of what I love about this podcast. We've had we've had multiple people on this, so we're having more and more as time goes on that are coming to us. And it's nice to talk to regular, everyday people and get the varying viewpoints and see how many of us at a core level feel the same.
Oh,
you know,
yeah.
we just all want to have a good time or, you know, be able to be chill with people. That's literally like most people we talk to. Even people that we don't really know, everybody just wants at the end to be happy. We all want the same core things. All of us.
Yeah. I mean, you definitely want that. I mean, who doesn't? You know, I don't think anybody doesn't want it. You know, I mean, but the only issue is that, like, these guys really debate, like, ideas as far as, like, gender and,
right.
you know, all that different stuff, like concepts and, you know, and they're more like scientific based. It's more like a skeptic community type of thing.
Okay.
But you know, I mean, what they do is really good. You know, as far as like listening and you know actually just having these thoughts and you know presenting their arguments. You know, it only helps you to actually debate and actually get to a point where you can you know learn more and actually learn how to develop your skill. I think that's something that is a little bit scary. It's like you're going to come up against somebody and not know what you're talking about. But you know, for the most part, I mean, I think you can learn for sure.
And there's nothing wrong with that. You know, if you're making an attempt to learn something or have an understanding of the other side or even of your own quote unquote side of something, and you know you look dumb per se, you're really not really dumb. You're learning. You making that attempt to learn something about someone else's point of view or more on your own point of view based on facts, not feelings, because feelings, of course, are not facts.
Yeah, they're
really
not
doing anything wrong.
No, they're not. I mean, it's unfortunate. It really is because, like, I don't think we live in a worse time than people in the past. I think everybody is so connected now. That like you're really seeing the first time like we're starting to really talk to each other like just as a whole entire species,
right?
You know, and that is something that is very unique. You know, like the communication angle is like, well, we can't ignore this, we can't ignore that. You know, like it's just insane. You know, like the level that it has gotten to is crazy. And you know, I mean, hopefully we'll make it. You know, did you see? Go ahead. You can go ahead.
No, I was just gonna say I have faith. That's all.
I mean, I hope so. I mean, obviously, I hope so. But I was gonna say, did you see that robot thing that flipped, like on the trending page on YouTube? It was like a robot that did a backflip at the very end. It was called the Atlas robot. Y'all can check it out. It's on the Dynamics page on YouTube. It's called the Atlas Robot. And this thing looks like it's a robot, man. Like, it's straight up a robot. Like, it's just, there's no way to describe it other than this thing can walk very well. It can do backflips.
Huh.
I mean, it's here, dude. Like, it's here. Like, I mean, it's just weird to see a robot. Like, I don't even think of it anymore. But, like, they're there, and eventually we'll have robots, you know? Like, it's just crazy, man.
They'll be delivered in our mail for us.
It's scary, dude. It's just crazy because, like, it's going by so fast, you know? Like, that's one of the most fascinating things is actually getting to a point where you can actually see, you know, what type of stuff's going on in society and, you know, that the only thing is like I would love to have a robot just so it could do my errands and stuff, you know.
I do.
Hey,
what's going on?
Hey, Zorroknowzz, that's what's going on.
Yeah, this is
online.
What's going on, Mr. Zorroknowzz? How are you doing?
I'm doing good. Sitting there watching parking wars. You know, I tell you, man, these people, you know, they park where they're not supposed to park. It's got no parking, and then they come along and get a ticket, and then they bitch about it. You know, what's all that about?
It's the quandary of, you know,
and
life.
They put a boot on their car and they come out whining. I don't have enough money to pay for it. I can't. I got to buy Christmas for my children and I don't have any money. And now you're going to put a boot on my car. The problem is, and they already got like 10 tickets, you know? So
Yeah.
it costs a ton of money to impound the car, and they got to go down and bail it out.
I know. Can you imagine how horrible that would be? That's why I'm always glad that we keep our stuff up. You know, AAA, man, AAA is amazing. Even though that has anything to do with it, you know.
Well, see, these people are usually in the city, these big cities, so they don't have anywhere else to park. They just run them for a minute, you know. So they take on off, park the car, and run in, and come out 2 hours later, and they got a boot on the wheel.
And the parking police get them.
That's right.
Yeah,
so what's going on
with
you guys?
What'd you say?
I said, what's going on with you guys?
We ain't doing nothing. Just
we're
record.
Just getting the infamous Zorroknowzz on to spread some knowledge.
I mean,
okay, let's talk. I tell you what, let's talk about some relationships today.
Oh,
let's do it.
Zorro's
feeling the spirit.
Here it comes. You know.
Well, before we jump into that, I want to know, how was your Thanksgiving, sir?
Thanksgiving was good. Yeah, Thanksgiving was real good. Had a good time. Worked Thanksgiving Day, which was good, and some of my employees got some time off. And I took the next day and got with family. We had some oven chicken and some dressing, which was real good.
Yeah, macaroni
and cheese, and some what was that? What was that other stuff we had? The
sweet potato pie. I know we had that.
Yeah,
that
sweet potato pie.
Sweet potato pie.
Yeah.
Don't get no more southern than that.
With actual sweet potatoes, because I didn't know if you knew this, but actual sweet potato pie is made with yams. So
that's what it was. It was
but this was actual sweet potato. You know.
That's right.
So it had a completely different flavor too.
You know, the thing about it, we had this corn pudding. This bread pudding had corn in it, which was really good. That was kicking. I like that. You can have that for breakfast, man.
That was good. That really did taste good. He did such a good job. My brother cooked, like he really did cook. I just cooked ribeyes, so we got like 4 ribeyes down there. I'm always amazed at how fast meat cooks on a grill. It cooks insanely fast.
Yeah, you cooked it fast, all right. You got a little bit too done. It's kind of burnt on one side. You know what I mean?
Well, that's fine, but the actual meat is fine. It's like light pink, which is great, but that's good. You want that. You want that char, you know.
I want that damn burnt meat.
Yeah, you want that char that gives you the nice, wonderful, you know.
Drop in the comments below. Do you guys like your meat charred or not charred?
Yeah, char.
Not charred.
No, char's supposed to be bad for you. Char's supposed to be bad for you, you know.
I ain't talking about burnt meat. I want no burnt meat. I don't want that.
Who does? That's so nasty. Going to a place. But tell us more about this relationship.
Well, let me tell you something. Here's the thing about Christmas and the holidays. Whatever kind of issues you got going on, they're magnified, especially in relationships. You know, I look at it can be a good time of the year, it can be a bad time of the year. Got without mentioning names, you know, I've been keeping up with my nieces on Facebook a little bit, and they're having some problems right now. A couple of them are going through separations, and I don't know, it seems like Christmas, it kind of magnifies it because both of them got kids, and they put a lot of stuff on Facebook around the holidays, how bad their spouse is or was or whatever. And I don't know, I just think it's, you know, they laid down with them and had babies with them and lived with them for a while. Now all of a sudden they're the worst human beings in the world. And I'm not saying they don't have issues, but you know, they need to try to work through it and be civil to each other, especially if they got kids together. I mean,
it's not good. She's definitely attacking him. I mean, to be honest, it's definitely a situation that's messed up, you know, because they have to co-parent, you know.
They do.
Well, that's true, but the point being was, you know, I don't know. I tried to share all this big tirade, and I try to go back to, you know, they were talking about. One of the nieces asked, what was your favorite meal for Thanksgiving? And I said, of course, mine was chitlins, chitterlings, Chitterlings. Which
are intestines, right?
Pig intestines.
Pig's intestines,
You boil them real good, clean them out real good before you eat them. Anyway, her sister goes into this tirade about how bad this guy is, all he does. And I asked her a question. I said, I said, make sure you clean those chitlins real good before you cook them, you know.
Yeah, I saw that.
Focus what's on important.
Right.
Yeah, I saw that.
I mean,
I mean,
really,
you know, it's
it's
just
all what
it's
she said too.
yeah, no. I mean, poor girl, you know,
I
she's
know.
already in another relationship
I
too.
know
Good
that. I
God.
know all that. But the whole
What?
point is, all that tirade, all that going on, that negativity doesn't do any good. You
No.
know, I mean, it really doesn't because she's saying things. You know, she's just angry. She's just angry, and
Yeah, you
and
know.
you got to
It's
work through your anger. But she got to run a few miles or do something. You
She
know.
gonna have to do something, man. You know, it's unfortunate because the kid is actually, hasn't been talking or anything like that. They got a child together, so they're
But
thinking that might be autistic. You know, so
here's the thing. Back into a relationship already. You know, I mean,
yeah,
just back into another one. You can't do that stuff, man. She's got to figure out who she is, and especially after this change, and kind of focus on herself. And I
yeah,
tell anybody that, yeah, you're in a relationship that goes bad, you need to focus on yourself, you know, because you're
Right.
part of the issue. I mean, it's not. There's always three sides to every argument: your side, my side, and the truth, which lies in the middle somewhere.
yeah.
So you know, you just God knows, man. You can't get all. Just focus on yourself. Focus on your education, your career, whatever it is. And just kind of focus on yourself and your kid, and keep moving forward. You know.
Right. You
Yeah.
can't just go through a chain of relationships and be destructive in each one. You gotta kind of
No, you can't. You
pull
can't do it.
yourself
You can't.
back together.
You can't. You can't let the next relationship fix the past relationship. It don't work that way.
No, it doesn't. It
It
doesn't.
doesn't work that way, man.
It
It
doesn't.
don't work that way.
They try.
Yeah, I know. It's just not good, man. Not good. And I was surprised to hear about the other one. Hell, they've been married for what, 15 years?
Woof.
And of course, I don't know, man. I mean, I don't know. I've been knowing they've been having problems, but anyway, they've kind of busted up, and he's moved out, and of course, I guess she's got the children. Of course, they're young children, so you know, I guess I don't know. See
So I
how
guess
that goes.
Mr. Zorro knows. The real question is to any struggling couple, out there right now for the holiday season, what would be your advice?
My advice is remember the reason for the season and count all your blessings. And that's what I told them. I said,
Amen.
you've got issues going on right now, but be thankful. Be so thankful that all the blessings you have. And your children are a blessing. Your health is your blessing.
Yes.
There are so many different blessings out there. And where anytime one door closes, another door opens, and focus on the right things, and that's family, and focus on your kids, and focus on your loved ones.
Right.
And if you're having problems with your spouse, focus on them and pray for them. I mean, don't give up. You just got to kind of make that relationship work, especially if you got children. You got to do.
And everybody got together at some point for a reason,
That's right. Exactly.
And 90% of the time, the reason, this is from what I understand from articles, the people lose interest or lose love is because they stop putting in the effort every day. They just assume that the other person's going to be there. They get content. They get lazy in putting effort into their love. And sometimes people don't want to hear that, but sometimes you got to compromise every single day. You still got to put in the effort. And yeah, it gets harder in the holiday season because of money and stress and things, but y'all got to enjoy it. Otherwise, what's the point of putting in all that time and effort?
But you got to remember something. When you got a relationship, especially when you get married, you have roles to play. Everyone plays a role.
Yes.
And that's what you have to do, and especially when you become a parent as well. Everybody has a role to play. I mean, you can't have in a household, you can't have, if everybody's in charge, then no one's in charge. And
Right.
you got to understand, you've got that. I respect for both people, each to show each other respect, but there has to be one person who's ultimately in charge, and that has to be the father, and I think that's a big part of it. All of it, no, and I think everybody makes mistakes, and everybody can share in the problems with what went wrong. But like I said, if you're going into a relationship, especially a marriage, you need to have that conversation long before you get married about your roles as a parent and as a spouse. You need to have that understanding. And I just think that's the way it's got to work. It has to work that way.
So do you think that the men should be in charge because usually they're less emotional, they're more analytic and black and white fact driven, or do you just think, why do you think men should be the one to try and be more in charge of those kinds of things.
Well, I just think they do. I think that I've always thought that. I was raised that way. I always knew that my father was in charge of the family. I mean, he was the one who ultimately made the ultimate decision.
Right.
What house to buy, the career move, whatever it was. He worked for DOD, and he would make the decision where he would have to go, where he had a choice to go to, Winston-Salem or Charlotte or Greensboro, wherever. Ultimately, he would make that decision. And I think there can be input, but there has to be ultimately someone making the decision, especially about the finances and everything else as far as that goes. I just think that's the way it should be.
Well, that's kind of like a big reason in sports teams why you have, your several different coaches for like offense, defense, or whatever, but you have the head coach who makes all the final decisions. You have to have a driving force, a driving leader to keep you going in one direction. Right. You can't be going in 200 directions at one time.
That's right.
So I can see how that would make a difference, yes.
You have to be. I was back years ago when I was trying to find a lot. This guy who's a builder here in Pitt County, he was a real big builder, pretty big builder. And he always told me, he said, Dean, when everybody's in charge, nobody's in charge. And that's just so true. And it's a lot of times what happens is that people, especially when they get married and they got jobs, she's got a job, he's got a job, they have children. You still have to go back to that and it's not about who makes the most money in a relationship. It's the fact that either you are the man of the house or you're not, and you have to be in charge. But that woman has to understand that and respect that position as well as her position. And they're not saying anyone is any less of a person. It's just the role you have to play, and you have to be supportive of each other.
Yeah.
And that's
you're basically saying that you should know your role. Like you should just know what you expect the other one to do and what you expect yourself to do.
That's
right.
Exactly.
That makes sense. Like,
And I think in our society today, for whatever reason, however we've evolved into this state now, everybody's lost their position, their roles, and it's all confusing. And I think that's a big problem. What's going on with the family situation in America today? And is that ever going to get fixed? I think it will, but it's going to have to evolve back into that, to where people understand their roles. And if you start to talk to people about that, they think you're crazy, or you're you're not you're sexist, and you're not being a sexist. You're just being a realist.
Yeah. Well, I mean, your core concept is fantastic, where you're talking about what you should do as far as actually having roles and stuff. You just put your own take on it. That's what you believe. But I mean, the core concept is you probably should definitely know what each other expects before getting into a relationship. I mean, that's a good concept, period. I mean, you can have whatever roles you want,
But here's the thing you need to understand. When most people, when they get into those type of roles, when they get into relationships, just like what we're talking about with the nieces, they didn't have that, or they didn't understand that to start with. They were just going on emotion. But at some point, when you start having children, you start having your careers and things like that, then someone's got to step up. Someone ultimately has to be in charge and be able to make that decision, because you can't have, it can be a democracy to a point, but then ultimately someone's got to make the ultimate decision.
Right.
And if you're not, if you've been independent your whole life and all of a sudden you're having to go into that type of role, it just doesn't work, because you haven't been raised that way. You haven't seen that. It hasn't been part of your environment. You understand?
Yeah, I hear you.
That makes a lot of sense.
It does, man. I'm telling you. And, you experience enough about life, you'll understand that, when you see it yourself, because I see it. I see in my own, situation, I should have, and I told somebody at work years ago when my oldest son was born, I told her I was over in my facility. I said, I need to take my family and move far, far away from Greenville. And I never did, and I should have. And that was a big mistake on my part. So, and I think people can learn from your mistakes, and that was a big one of mine. So, the bottom line is when you get married and you start having a family, you start making the tough decisions, and you go through with them and you stick to them. That's what you do.
That's kind of like the famous. I'm trying to remember. There's a quote. It's like a relationship, or no, what is it? Marriage is 2 parts business transaction, 1 part love. So,
yeah, well, yeah, but the concept of love. Now you got to get past the infatuation piece of it. The hormonal piece of it, and all that,
which is the 2 parts business transaction.
Yeah, I mean because I mean, you'll always love someone. You may not like them too much at certain points of your life because you don't like.
So true.
Because you don't like some of the shit they do or some of the shit they've done and what they're not doing and what they are doing, and you don't like them very much, but you always love them.
Right.
I mean, that sounds crazy, but it's the truth of it.
Yeah, that's how that works.
That's how it works.
That's exactly
how it works.
That's true. It's very true, man. Like, I mean, they say in the end, like, you end up just, sitting next to one another, sitting on your front porch, drinking some tea,
some tea.
That's it, that's
look,
it.
Here's the thing. You go ahead, people get married have several different marriages, and none of them ever work because it's their concept of marriage. They don't realize, when the hormonal stuff, wears off or wears to a degree, or people change, you still got to like that person. You got to be able to hang out and do things with that person,
Right.
And that's the key. You have to have something in common. You have to have something in common you enjoy doing. And I can't stress that enough too. So, and it's got to be something you enjoy doing together, something that and you're going to change. You may like doing something when you first get married. You may not like it 5 years from now. But when you start changing, have something in common that you can change together, whatever it is. It may be, going to the beach. It may be going to the mountains. It may be, whatever. I mean, bowling or whatever.
Right.
Got to be something.
And like, yeah, that's I find that is the truth too. I mean, me, my wife, the wife, we're probably pretty close to opposite ends of the spectrum. She's, music wise, she's super into basically one genre of music and kind of dabbles in others. I like a lot of genres of music, but I'm not super necessarily into just one. She's not huge into a lot of the nerdy stuff, like quote unquote nerdy, like playing video games and cards and stuff. I hate watching TV, but we find that doing some of these things together, like we play Magic the Gathering together frequently. I have a hard time watching movies because sitting an hour and a half doing that is probably the hardest thing for me to do, but I do that for her. I'll watch TV with her. So like we find things that we can do together to relieve the stresses of real life. And we try to make sure to do them at least, something every day together. Whether it be cook or she cooks, I clean, we sit and talk together, and it makes a difference. It really does.
How long y'all been married?
Not long. We've been married since 2014, so we just passed our 3rd year.
Well, that's good. Y'all have children?
Nah.
I have children. Yeah. Well, I mean, that's good. You're doing it right. That's good. I mean, y'all have known each other, and how long did you know each other before you got married?
Just about a year. I mean, we've been together a total of 4 years. And don't get me wrong, like we obviously have our spats, our marriage shit, the little things that annoy each other about each other. But yeah, anyways. So like we have our spats, we have our things, and obviously no relationship is going to go without their arguments, and that's actually a good thing because that shows that you still have an investment or an interest in each other. It's the point where some relationships though do it in a toxic way.
Yeah.
And there's a healthy way to express your issues with someone, and then there's a toxic or destructive way to do it for both parties. So, and I mean that's the big thing we've worked on. I mean, I told you guys before, we were literally in the process of doing divorce paperwork in the past. And now we're in a relationship where I can't see us splitting up because we're both making an effort every day. And that's huge. Some days less of an effort than other because we're human, but we're also more understanding of each other. And that's it's huge.
And that'll come with age too, with maturity.
Yes.
Life experiences. You'll go through all those issues. And you'll set your priorities, and they'll change throughout your life and your marriage.
Mm-hmm.
But the thing is, and I'm gonna say this because it's just the truth. People don't significantly change who they are. They can modify their behavior to a degree, but people are who they are. And at some point, you have to accept people for the way they are and realize that, and you can't change them. You just can't do it. It just doesn't work. So you have to accept that, because I think people's nature is such that that's who they are, and it's their DNA coupled with their life experiences,
right?
Kind of enhance from it or detract from it, or kind of magnifies it or exhibits the behavior. And I think that's what happens.
I agree with you.
That's what happens.
I think we're ultimate creatures of habit.
Yeah, exactly. You do. You do what you want to do, and you do what's important to you, and you do those things. I've always been the type that I had a very demanding career, and I had to perform every month. I had to make money every month, and get good surveys, or and perform to that level, or you were gone.
Right.
And so I was always the type that my obsessive nature. I got an obsessive nature. And I take it to work with me, and I take it to work out, and I take it to every part of my life. You don't take your obsessive nature to just one thing. You
right.
Take all aspects of your life,
I hear
different components of it. And that's what I've done. And that's what I've done my whole life. And I've been successful in some things and not successful in other things because of that obsessive nature.
Yep. I can relate to that.
It's the good with the bad. That's the way we are.
Mm-hmm.
But the key is to know what that is and be honest with that, your excessive nature, to be honest with who you are and, the changes in your life. And you have to be honest with yourself first, and then you're honest with people around you. And I think that's important. And communications are the utmost important,
I agree.
And I came from a place where you really didn't communicate the way you truly felt, because that was the 60s,
Right.
I mean, you didn't tell people shit. You didn't tell people what you really thought. I mean, God knows, man.
That's fascinating because, our spectrum, we tell people.
Yeah,
the generation difference is huge. People can't hold their opinion to themselves worth a shit now.
That's right, man.
No,
Pardon my swearing.
I think what you get older is that when he's got a little dementia, but he don't. He's just telling you how you really fucking feel.
I believe it, man. I really do.
Yeah.
I just don't care anymore. That grumpy old man.
Where I am right now, I tell people exactly how I feel. I mean, I don't hold back at all. I mean, I really do. I've been set free. I tell you, man. I was telling a cardiologist the other day, and looking at getting a valve probably, I don't know, not as long. It won't be as long as it has been. I said, don't give me no damn jackleg over there. I don't want somebody who's got some damn experience or I'll go somewhere else. But I'll say this, and he's a good cardiologist, and I think he would recommend someone really good. But there again, it's up to me to verify that the person he recommends is the person I want. And of course, I've already looked into different hospitals and things like that, because you have to take charge of that stuff.
Right.
Healthcare. You can get a recommendation. Oh, this guy, this doctor, he's one of the best cardiac thoracic surgeons. He's great. Blah 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 blah. Bullshit. You don't know that. I mean, how many surgeries does he do a month? How many aortic valves does he do a month? Of course, you go up to Duke or you go up to Wake, there are men up there that do about 3 times what they do in this area, you know. Right. So, you know, anytime you have any kind of health issues, take the bull by the horns, and you kind of, you know, search out, find the best people to do the job if you have to have something done.
Yeah, that's so important. It really is. People don't realize how important that is. But like where we live at, the city we live, like as far as getting surgery, you definitely would want to go to, you know, state capital, which is Raleigh, you know, to go to Duke or something like that, because, you know, they're world renowned.
Yeah.
So. I mean, that's what happened to my mom. She actually went and got surgery up there at Duke, and this guy was hunched over from doing all these surgeries that's all he did was do these surgeries, you know?
He was good, man. He was good. And that's the key, man. You want to find the best artist. You want a damn picture painted, you find the best artist. You know what you want. You want you a good old hunting dog, you find the breeder for the hunting dog, or field trial dog, or whatever you're looking for. Right. You know, somebody say, "Oh yeah, that guy, he's real good. He hasn't been doing it too long, but yeah, he's good, man." Shit.
Right. You don't do that with your health.
No.
I don't do it with my dog. You know.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm pretty fortunate. I live in an area where the medical facilities are nothing short of phenomenal. So.
Yeah, that's good.
Yeah.
We live in a place where we got like a trauma 1 medical center, a hospital that's actually trauma 1, so it's able to handle, you know, like, you know, if something horrible happens, you know, they're able to handle it. But I'm telling you, man, like, you never know when you might need to go to the hospital, and when you do, you definitely want to have options, you know.
Well, here's the thing. Here's the thing. When I had cancer, and I went to this my doctor and my family doctor. I went into him that day, and I said, of course, I told him, I said, what I did, I got up one morning, and I might have told you this, I spit a little bit of blood, and I thought it was coming from my sinus, just a little bit. And I did it the next day, and I went to my doctor, and he said, told him what was going on. He looked at my tonsils, he said, they're a little inflamed. He said, I want you to go home and gargle with Listerine for 2 weeks, and then come back and see me. So the next day, I called up the ear, nose, and throat guy. I knew his nurse, so I called her up. She got me in the next day. And of course, 2 weeks later, we were taking tonsils out, and that's what it was. It was had cancer, and of course, I was okay. You know, I caught it early, but if I had listened to this doctor, hell, I'd probably be dead. And so the key is, if you know something, if you feel like something's not right with your body, or you know, God help you, if you're spitting up blood, or you got it going out your poop, whatever you got, you need to get to a doctor. And if he gives you some stupid ass, you know, response, then you need to go somewhere else and go quick. Don't wait. Don't listen
to your gut on that.
do not listen to these people. I mean, you know, you're your best advocate. You know, they don't, and I'm saying this because it's just the truth. They don't care about you as much as you care about you. How about that?
No, they really don't, because their job is to, you know, just service a huge amount of people, you know?
Yeah, and that's not what you want. So, but anyway, back to relationships. Christmas magnifies, the holidays magnify your relationships and your problems and your dysfunctional whatever part of your life. So let that be, you know, a litmus test for your relationships, you know. Either you look forward to the holidays or you don't.
Right.
And if you don't, there's a problem.
Yeah, it sounds like it, you know. I mean, Jesus, I mean, you know, I can't wait to go down to the beach this Christmas. It's going to be so fun. You know, we go to the beach every year.
Well, I think it's
fantastic.
good. I think to me, it's a good time. It's especially with the girls that go down there. Hopefully, it'll be some time of enlightenment, you know, to get another perspective of what's going on in their life. But I swear, man, I just can't get past the fact that you don't, the fixing your emotional state does not involve getting right back into another relationship. And being in love. Being in love. I mean, Oh, I love him. You know, I
Yeah,
hate
that's temporary.
I hate the guy I left, but I love this new guy I just met. The guy that my husband, I've known him for 5 years. I had a baby with him. I hate him, but I love this new guy I met last month. Shit, man.
Right.
It's crazy.
Yeah.
Like, I just met you. I love you. I hate you, though. You're trash. It's like, come on.
Hey,
Like, all the warning signs were there before they got together.
she
Just
never
didn't
got.
want to pay attention,
Yeah,
man.
it just I got caught up in the moment of want to do a family and all that kind of stuff. You can't do like that. Just can't. Don't work that way. Don't work that way. You know.
Yeah. You're always better if you try to plan some stuff out. You're always in a better position. So, that's a good idea.
Yeah, you were planned out, but you came.
I know, man. I mean,
You were. Yeah, we had set a date to get. I mean, boom, there you were. Lord,
and it's
God,
amazing.
what's that? What's that? What in the
I
world?
know. It's like, wow.
He came out. He was like, "Wait, Dem Boys, eh?"
Look, man,
Dem Boys.
His head popped out. I thought, oh my God, looked like alien coming out of the. His head popped. I sat there and I said, oh my God. And of course, he said, you need to go up the other side. I said, Lord, that must have come to his head, It had his mouth.
What is that?
God almighty, that's a weird sight. I'm gonna tell you, I don't care what you say, man. When you're down there and all of a sudden there she got her legs. I mean, right there, right there it is, wide open, and old hemorrhoid down there, a little bit lower, and here comes this head comes popping out, and it's just like he got his stretching his neck, getting out. And goes, man, I said, damn, and all of a sudden here comes push, and then it gets his hands in there, maneuvers him around, gets the forceps in there because his shoulders were wide, damn, and it cuts the.
They cut. Yeah, they actually cut them. They will actually
episiotomy.
cut the vagina. They'll actually cut them.
They do a episiotomy. Bang, sounds like leather. And then here comes the head, and here comes the rest of them. And when the rest of them comes out, it just slides right on out, And here comes, of course, the umbilical cord and all that. And it's a beautiful moment. I'm going to tell you, the most joy I ever felt in my life, and my wife will tell you the same thing, was when my first son was born. I'll never forget that. That was the most joy I've ever felt in my life. The most joy I've ever felt. We were both crying. Everybody in the living room was crying. And I said, ain't that amazing? Think about it. I mean, and I ain't saying he's done this, but just think about the one who caused the most joy could cause the most heartache. Not saying it has, but could, whatever. But the point being is, we felt so much joy. I've never felt that kind of joy, and I didn't. I mean, I've never felt that kind of joy since either. I mean, it was just total, utter joy.
That's what they say. They say when you have like a child, you do experience that.
Yeah, I mean, really. I mean, I'm talking about joy that I've never felt ever in my life, and that's. I mean, you don't have kids yet, do you?
Nah.
Huh?
He doesn't.
You haven't. Well, I tell you what. When you have a child, you'll understand what I'm saying.
That's fair.
You will understand. You will totally understand. Because it changes you and it changes your wife. Your wife, see, I think what happens, a woman goes through a hormonal change. All of a sudden, they're a mother. A woman changes. When she becomes a mother, her life changes. Her perception of life changes. Everything about her changes. I'm telling you.
Speaking of that, the amount of joy you have when you have a baby, we, in this area recently, there was a car accident, and a mother and a father lost two sons, their only sons, in the same day, at the same time. And when I heard about that, I thought about it, and I was like, losing one kid has to be probably one of the hardest things a person can go through. And then I sat there and I thought about it some more. And when I lost my dog Blitz, she was 2 years old. I lost my shit. My wife was hyperventilating, and she was having a hard time breathing, and her chest hurt. So imagine getting the news you just lost your kids, and then actually seeing it, because probably you won't believe it at first. It's not one child, but all of your children, essentially. How do you live with that? Like, that's something that, like, I was like, wow.
Well, let me tell you something. I had a lady. You might remember this. Had a lady at work for me. She was my social worker. It was good. I'll never forget it. Was just working, and she was there at work that day. And I said, "What are your kids? What are your husband and kids doing?" And she said, "He is rented a little sailboat. He took a class, and they're down in on the coast and they're on our coast. I won't give you a whole lot of information because I don't anybody know this. Them to hear.
Well, I mean, we live in North Carolina, so you can say
it was
that.
on the coast. Anyway, he has 3 boys. Okay, he was in this little sailboat, and he took a little sailing class. He was around this town out there, and he was sailing. Well, his mask hit a exposed power line cord.
Oh no!
A power line. Okay, came down, killed his 2 boys who were sitting side by side. Okay, killed them immediately, electrocuted. Okay, now and they get them over to the shoreline. They take the kids to the hospital. She gets the phone call, and she leaves and drives down to the hospital, probably about 40 miles away. She walks in. He's sitting on the floor, and she goes trying to console him. And the ER staff comes in and says, "Would you like to see your sons?" And she says yes, and went in and pulled back the curtain. And they said right when they pulled back the curtain, he didn't make it. Of course, he was dead. The other one, they flew to another town. She got there, and he's dead. So anyway, she buried 2 of her sons. Okay, I went to the funeral, and she was crying. She was all distraught, and she should be. And she was in the coffin kissing them and all that kind of stuff. Of course, I lost it. Everybody there lost it. And but anyway, they sued that town, got money, and set up a college fund for their other son, their remaining son. And but she lost 2 sons that day. And then she comes to see me every year. She'll come, we'll visit. She'll sit down and talk to me, and we talk about it. She said she was so devastated that she wanted to die. You know, the only thing that kept her from dying was her other son.
Right.
And her husband. Of course, her husband blamed himself, and he was a good man. He didn't do anything wrong. It was just an exposed power line running along the railroad trestle, and that mass hit it and came on down and killed him. You know, awful.
That's terrible.
Freak accident. Yeah, I remember about that. I remember that was very traumatic. You know, I remember hearing about it. So
yeah, it was awful, man. It was July 4th.
Yeah, that's crazy. You know, thinking about that, because power lines have a crap load of power.
Yeah.
So I mean, they were definitely dead. You know, like there's no way they were surviving. How did the other kids survive though? What were they touching it?
He was sitting beside his daddy, and he didn't. I think he ended up in the water, but they didn't go to cardiac arrest and didn't die. But they burnt those. One of them was burned so bad they couldn't even recognize him.
Wow. So basically, what happened is, I guess the metal conducted, and they must have been grounded. That's
right. They were at the bottom of the mast. It went right down.
It's crazy.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
So if you look around, man, you see people who have truly had a lot of misery, pain, and suffering. And thank God, man, you haven't had that. You know,
right.
You haven't buried a child. You know, it's like when my brother dropped dead. You know, and when he dropped dead, I asked Mom. I said, "Mama, why did that happen?" She said, "Maybe it was just our turn." My mom always had a way of putting things. She said, "Maybe it was just our turn because we hadn't had any catastrophic event take anybody away." You know, and it's just it's just like with my oldest boy, finding him almost dead. Hell, he was 5 minutes in full cardiac arrest when I found him. You know.
Yeah, it's crazy.
That was there's a reason why I was home that day, and it was the reason why we found him 5 minutes before he was going into full cardiac arrest. He was meant to still be around here for some reason.
That's crazy. That is.
Hopefully he'll figure it out why. You know.
Well,
to bring some Dem Boys content to people.
Apparently,
is what that's what I'm assuming.
I'm assuming that as well.
This hypothetical person or whatever. I'm not sure if anyone knows, but I think everybody knows that Zorro knows my dad. I think everybody knows that. So
yeah.
I mean.
We all know that without Mr. Zorroknowzz, there would be no Dem Boys.
No.
Hey, look, let me ask you this.
No Dem Boys.
And I'll tell you, and he can tell you about this. He heard everything that we were saying, but could not respond. And that's the last sense you lose when you're dying. You know that, don't you?
Yeah, well, you're hearing. Yeah, I could hear like Mama and stuff like that. It was so surreal, so weird, crazy.
Think about it. He didn't want to wake up. He did not want to wake up.
Right.
I mean, I didn't even know. All you could do is hear.
I know. You weren't in any pain. You weren't suffering.
No, it's just like it was just weird. It was nut. It was just
you were dying.
Listening to stuff. Yeah, it's very like that. That definitely for me was like one of the benchmark moments as far as like changing my life and getting better and stuff like that because. I realized like I was just going down a dead end path.
And that's unfortunate
I was like, no, that's horrible.
But honestly, I'm grateful you went through it, you triumphed through it, and here you are today.
Yeah. I did. I definitely. That's like 3 years ago, I think.
Yeah, he was.
I changed.
Actually, when the cardiologist came to the house, the cardiologist comes to your house on a true 911 call. And she knew it was a true 911 call because I was describing what he was doing, his breathing and, 5 seconds apart and blowing out and all that white stuff. And anyway, so I knew he aspirated. And I was telling her he was getting ready to go into, and she knew he was getting ready to go in full cardiac arrest. And I had looked up, of course, here comes the paramedics. And, he said, oh, no. And we got him on the floor and put him on that stretcher. And of course, we couldn't get him back. They put oxygen on him, and he cleared up. All of a sudden, he wasn't blue anymore. His color came back, and because he was blue. And I looked up, and there was a cardiologist guy. I'll never forget it. He was a young guy. He had a white shirt and a tie on. He said, Mr. Pico, he said, you had less than 5 minutes, he would have been full cardiac arrest. Full cardiac arrest.
Isn't that crazy?
He'd have been dead.
Right.
So,
yeah. Isn't that crazy? Like you think about it, like you become so reckless that you don't care. You really don't. Nothing matters to you. But I could have very easily been another statistic, man. People don't realize it.
You could have died the night before when Mama got you up off the floor downstairs, which I didn't know about until about a couple months ago. You should have gone to the hospital that night because what you did, she got you up to the room and sat you on the corner of your bed and you flopped back, and that's when you vomited and you aspirated. So, but the bottom line was next time your ass ends up on the floor, you need to let me know so I can get your ass to the hospital.
I would never end up on the floor again. I'm not. Ever since that day, man, like I completely changed. I was like, no, there's no way I can do anything and do that. I guess what I was looking for is like I was just mentally looking for something and was just trying all these different substances to actually find it, but it never worked for me, that's for sure. That's why I stopped and decided to try to go back to school and get a job, and I'm actually graduating this fall.
That's what's up. There you go, man.
But see, here's the thing I want everybody to realize. And I never would ever, in my wildest dreams, ever would have thought that what I have, my life has been like in the last 30 years, okay? I could never, I should have wrote a book on all my life experiences for the last 30 years, especially in the field I'm in and dealing with everything else. And in some ways it's similar to others, some ways it's different, but everybody's got a story. And life in itself is full of lessons, trials and tribulations. And young people out there, y'all need to realize that y'all are going to have trials and tribulations too. And you're going to be a different person when you're 60 than when you were 20. and you need to realize that. You know, things are going to change, and your life changes, and your life circumstances change. But remember this: it's a good ride. It's a life is a great thing, you know. And when you're laying there and you're about ready to end your life, you know, a lot of people still want more life, you know. But the most important thing people realize, the things they should have, if they could go back and change anything, is to spend more time and do more things with the people they love. That's the most important thing about life. And because really when it gets down to it, money and all that, you know, I don't care how much money you got. You know, when you're gone, you're gone. And
ain't doing you no good.
Ain't doing you no good, man. So enjoy your life, develop, and I believe this: develop a strong relationship with God. I believe in God, and I believe in a higher being, and I believe in Jesus Christ, and I believe in when you get away from His Word and you try to live things on your own terms, and you try to control your own life and the things you do, you're destined to fail. I think you have to have. There's a spiritual part of all of us that we have to develop. And you get exposed to it at some point in your life and you walk away from it. But sooner or later, you're going to go back to that because you're going to have to survive and make sense of it all. And you got to figure it out for yourself.
That makes a lot of sense. A lot of people do have to go through some stuff, you know, and have to. It's definitely not, you know, they don't give you a manual when you're born. That's for sure. They don't give you a how-to on how to, you know,
but here's the
live and how to enjoy life, really.
There's a physical part of you. There's all sorts of different parts of a person. But there's a spirituality to each person. There's more than what your five senses can pick up on. There's more to you than meets the eye. There's that part of you that motivates you, that determines how you're going to act in any given situation. There's always a connection to the future as well as the past as well. You know about the past. You know certain things about the past, and you know there's a future, and you know there's more to life than just a physical realm. You know that because of your energy. You know that energy has got to go somewhere, and I'm a firm believer in that. And I believe I'm the most happy people in the world, you know, when they realize that they always know that there's always someone you can go to, and that's God, you know, and you have to know that. You have to know that. And sooner or later, you know, you will know that. I don't know. I was raised, my mother took us to Sunday school and took us to church, you know, that was important, and I got away from it. And of course I go back to it, but reading the scriptures and watching the stuff on TV has helped me a lot too. So, and it behooves anybody to do the same thing, but develop a relationship with God and get in that Bible and read that Bible, because everything in that Bible, everything that you're ever going to need in life is going to be in that Bible. And live by those principles. It will make the difference. I'm telling you, because you know when you're doing wrong, you know when you're going down the wrong road. You know when you're doing something you shouldn't be doing. You know it when you're doing it. You know it's wrong, and you know what it is.
Yeah, that's very true. I mean, you're speaking all truth. That's for sure. You know, I mean, it's very true. You know, life
and I'll tell you something else too.
Crazy.
You know, when you have children, you need to. That's why I get back to the whole thing about someone's got to be in charge in the family. You have to have someone who's got the ultimate decision in the family. You have to have that. You have to understand your role when you get married. You have to have that role. You have to define those roles. And I'm telling you, man, because if you don't, then the kids see where the parents are not one unified voice. You know, there's conflict, and then kids capitalize on that. They know how to do that. They know how to get in there and get on, you know,
manipulate their way and do what they want to get.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
Well, I want to say this, you know, I think a lot of good things were said for a lot of people who might be struggling this time of year, enjoying themselves. At the end of the day, remember we all only get one life. We only get this time of year one time a year. You know, try to make the effort to enjoy it some more. So You know.
Yeah, let me say, and something else too. Give to other people. You know.
Yes.
And look, there's a place over here in town. I've been talking to this minister. He comes out. He's with the home health and hospice, the hospice people, and he has a kitchen over here. You know, food and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And I think I'm gonna do some of that this month. Go over there and help. You know, pass out food and feed some of the hungry and donate some stuff to this organization. But do that during this month. Go and give to people. You know, give people stuff who don't have things, who can appreciate things. You know, that's what it's all about. Make some little kid have a nice Christmas. You buy him a little buy a kid a bicycle or something. You know?
Toys for tots.
Toys for tots. You know.
Yeah, donate to your local charities.
Yeah, and give, but give of your time. Here's the thing: when you're sitting there and you got somebody who doesn't have anything, homeless people who are just down and living. You know, there's a place over in the town I used to work at. There was a soup kitchen, and people lived there. You know, and we would go out and do community service stuff. Of course, we would take food and we would feed people. I did the Meals on Wheels. You know, where I would go in and take food. At lunchtime, I'd pick it up at the county, and I would go at the senior center, and I'd go out into the county and drive for about, I don't know, an hour and a half, taking people food that didn't get food. And I would take enough of them to have 1 meal per day for a week. So I'd take 7 meals. They'd be frozen, and I would drop them off. And some of these people, man, they were pitiful. I mean, their houses, they'd have roaches everywhere. They were dirty. Had holes in the windows. I mean, some of them you just felt very uneasy about being in their homes. And of course, you know, I'd write little notes and give it to the county director so they could send APS out there or whoever.
Right.
But there's a ton of that stuff you can do, you know?
No, it makes sense. That's why there's these volunteer groups put in place, is so that if, you know, people offer their time, they can help.
Yeah, man, it makes a big. I mean, just little stuff going. And I'll tell you something else, man, that's really good. And this is, you know, especially the elderly population. I behooves people to go to the nursing facilities or the assisted living facilities and just like take your kids. If you got a kid, your little kids, go in there and just sit down and talk to these people. You know, take a puppy dog, a little dog or something.
Yeah.
Oh my God, pet therapy, man, you just don't know. You can't imagine. And especially little kids. We get these little kindergarten classes come in, and they just lighten up. I mean, just sit down and play a game of checkers, you know, with an elderly patient or something. You just don't know what that does. I'm telling you.
No, I hear you. And it does make a difference, because for a lot of them, too, their life is very monotonous. They might have activities and such they can do, you know, throughout the week at a lot of these places, at a lot of these homes. But
you know what I told a family member last week? I said, you know, you guys are going to have to help. You're going to have to help.
Right.
You know, they're going to have to participate in the care. You need to, if mom keeps coming out of bed, you need to, if you can watch her a couple hours a day, it'd be a good thing. But here's the thing I want you to remember. You know who's getting the most out of all that? The people delivering the service, the kids.
Right.
The people, those little kids come in there, and those people make such a big deal out of them. And a lot of these kids are disadvantaged kids, and all of a sudden they are number one in somebody's eye. You hear me?
Right.
Somebody is looking forward to seeing them. Somebody they just elated. They hug them. They're just so happy to see them. They make the kids feel good. Like the kids, somebody wants to see the kids. You know what I mean?
Right.
I mean, they're special. They're special when they come there.
They become a hero in a way. And that's big for a kid to have that kind of self-worth. That's huge.
That's it. And they have victory. Those children have victory. All of a sudden, they are somebody.
Right.
They are somebody.
Yeah, I can imagine. That has to really boost their self-esteem, and they have to really be like, hey, well, you know, here's a guy that actually likes us, you know, someone.
Right, that's right. I mean, it's simple stuff, man. It's basic stuff. That's all. Get back to the basics.
That's crazy, man. You know, life is definitely, you know, one of those things that it's just amazing how life unfolds and how, you know, you can be doing one thing 1 minute and how, you might be doing something completely different the next,
Right.
Look, here's the thing. Here's the thing about religion. I'm gonna say this. I have my beliefs. Everybody's got their own belief, and I try not to. I don't profess to be an expert on anything or even have enough knowledge on anything, really, especially about when it comes to religion or the Bible to even talk about it. Really, I know certain things, and I read the Bible, but I think it's one of those things people have to realize for themselves. You have to discover in your own terms and in your own time. And that's something you have to do, and you will eventually. But it has to come from you. It has to come from your heart and your soul. And nobody can really take your hand and walk you there. You have to find it yourself.
Right.
Yeah.
That's just the way it is, And your life experiences, everything that you go through in life, and you're going to find this when you get older. It's a road. You're traveling all these different roads, but just one. There's going to be a cross section in your life. There's going to be a crossroads, and you're all going to be going to that crossroad, and you will at that point in time make a decision which way you want to go on to, which path you're going to take. You're going to be off to the right, or whatever you're going to do, and that's everybody.
That's true, man. That's very true. Zorroknowzz is always keeping it fresh. That's for sure.
Keeping it.
Yeah, Zorro's tired, man.
But you're tired. You tired. You went ahead.
Tired
and
of talking,
preached.
man.
It's that turkey. It's that turkey. Listen,
Hey,
I
look, we got
appreciate you for being on the show. I appreciate you for stopping by. I know our viewers
thanks.
love you. They love you.
Yeah, they do. They love Zorroknowzz.
They love Zorroknowzz.
Preaching to them, man. Preach the good news.
Yeah.
That Zorroknowzz knows.
Zorro knows. He knows what you know, but more about knowing it. So
yeah, guys, look, if you have a question for Zorroknowzz, just post it on our Facebook page.
You can literally hit us up anywhere. Our Patreon.
Yeah, anywhere, dude. Just say, ask, just type in, hashtag Zorro or whatever. Just be like, hey, this is for. Let us know somehow that it's for Zorro, and we'll ask him next time we catch him wandering in the woods. This time we managed to find him, but
so I got two chores for you guys. Two chores. Let us know in the comments below. Are you for charred meat, like a little bit more burnt, or are you for not burnt meat? And then the second thing is, you got a question for Zorroknowzz, you can hit us up on our email or Patreon, Facebook, or Twitter, or just leave the question below in the comments with hashtag ZK Dem Boys, or actually let's do this. Let's do hashtag Zorroknowzz, ZORRONOWS, correct?
Yeah, KNOWS, yeah.
KNOWS. I mean, it'll be in the title too and in the description. So leave the hashtag below, ask your questions, and let us know how you like your meat. But again, as always, we appreciate you listening. If you can check out our Patreon and leave $1 a month, that helps us out substantially. Right now, everything we do, we pay out of pocket for our ability to host, our ability to leave our website up, our advertisements and such. So anything you can help donate helps us out. We're still doing the 50% of profit goes towards donations. So that's kind of cool. So yeah, I think that's it from me.
That's it, guys. That's it. Zorro, do you want to sign off?
Sign off? Zorro?
Yeah.
All right.
Just let me know.
We've been Dem Boys.
We're out.
See you. Bye.